Hi, you guys. Okay. I'm jumping on YouTube Live for everybody that possibly missed the vision board party yesterday. So, if you missed that beautiful vision board party yesterday, I wanted to jump on live and kind of give you a recap and kind of encourage you on some of that same stuff we talked about in case you missed it yesterday. So, if you are somebody who may have missed yesterday's vision board party, I want to jump on here and kind of encourage you a little bit on some stuff we talked about on there. And so I didn't do a replay with the vision board party. I usually always do a replay, but I just did not feel like it. And also too, those parties go long. We was on that mug for hours. That's a lot of footage. That's a lot of storage. And sometimes it causes problems. And so I didn't do the replay. Ooh, can't you tell? I literally left this office at like 9:30 last night, after 9:30 last night. And then I got back here this morning. That's why I'm tired. But anyways, and it was such a mess, which I was cleaning up. But if you did not make it to our vision board party last night, sis, we're not doing a replay. But I will say that it was so good and it was so great for me to see a lot of people's faces. We had a girl win the ring light. We had someone win an Amazon gift card. So like we good. We happy with the results and everything. But I wanted to jump on YouTube Live. I actually had a video that I was gonna put out today, but I'm like, no, let's just hold off on that video and put that out on Monday so we can have something for Monday. So I'm like, but instead of just jumping and just ignoring you guys, it's Fearless Friday, okay? And this is really the last Friday of the year. That is so crazy. It's the last Friday of 2023. And the reason why I want to jump on live is because I want you to kind of the things that held you back in this year. I want you before 2024 comes, I want to give you a little bit of homework. I want you to face one of those things, okay? I want you to be like, what was it that I was so scared of this year? Was I scared of dressing the way I truly want to dress because I didn't want my family to judge me? Was I afraid of really going hard for my dreams because I didn't want people to judge me? Or let's face at least one. Before the year is up, I want to challenge you to face one of your fears. Also, there was a girl online last night, and her one homework was before the year was up, you need to have a moment with God. You need to have a cry out to God. Her life had been really crazy. Her family had been through a lot of stuff this year. And she talked about how she just feels out of tune with God, numb, and all of that. And the homework the Lord gave her was like, cry out to me, not about the stuff that happened, because that's what's causing you to be so numb, but cry out to me in goodness. Talk to me about how good I've been to you this year. And I can tell you this, and I can attest that I went through one of the hardest years of my life, but there was a time I was in worship. And when I could not, there was a song they were saying, like, holy is your name. Hallelujah. Something about the goodness of God. And when I was in worship, I realized I couldn't say that because I had been through so much this year, so much grief, so much challenges, so much struggle. And I was still standing in my struggle at the current moment when I heard this worship song. And finally, I'm trying to tell you, like after about the eighth time they repeated it, I finally was able to say it. And when I say it, I just broke down in tears. So I want to tell you, sometimes what's happening is we've been going through so much in life and we got all this pent up energy, all this pent up emotion. And God is like, cry out to me, and I will break that thing. Worship me in spirit and in truth, and I will break that heaviness off of you. I will take that heaviness off of you. I will replace all those ashes for some beauty, okay? I will replace everything that happened in year 2023 that broke you and that made you feel like you were nothing, that made you feel like you could never come up. All the things that happened in 2023 that tried to snatch your hope, I want to tell you right now, God says, I can bring that back. I can rebirth something to you. And last night on our call, on our video, our vision board party, I gave a prophetic word, and I'm going to probably release it eventually on my YouTube channel. But I'm kind of tapping into it right now as I'm speaking a little bit, because the word that the Lord gave for 2024 was like, there's been a lot of stuff. And as I read it verbatim, A lot. I could see the girls on the camera. Some of them were breaking down. Some of them were emotional because I was speaking directly, and the Lord was speaking directly into some situations. And he was just saying, like, some of you been struggling so tough this year. Some of you been don't know how you're gonna pay certain bills this year. Some of you had negative account after negative account. Some of you have battled month after month. Like, man, when is it gonna get better? And I want to tell you, the Lord said seasons have to change. Just like there is a winter, spring has to come. It don't matter how long it's gonna take, but a spring has to come. And also, too, there was something that just kept being replayed last night. Welcome to faith. There were some girls like, well, hey, God let me down in this section. Okay, I was believing God for this and it didn't happen. And then somebody was like, hey, I moved to this city and I got the job that I prayed for. And then all hell broke loose and now I'm struggling. When all these girls were saying all this stuff, all I kept hearing the Lord say is, welcome to faith. This is faith. This is the journey of faith where there are going to be some seasons when you are on a mountaintop and you are standing in the blessing. And then there's some seasons when the blessing is now crushing you and the very thing you prayed for is now heavy. And you are like, God, I prayed for this. And I'm trying to tell you, there's the seasons I'm in this office like, God, I prayed for this, but now it's crushing me. And it's like the very thing you prayed for sometimes will require some crushing. Sometimes the very thing you said, God, I want to move to this city and I want to believe you for this. And sometimes the very marriage you was praying for is actually the very thing that's crushing you to grow. Okay. So I want to say this again. Welcome to faith, daughters of God. If you have had a year where it has been such a struggle, if you had a year where you were literally standing on one piece of firm foundation, you're like, Lord, please don't put nothing else on me because I ain't gonna make it. If you had a year where you were saying, God, I can't take no more. I have been pressed. I have been overwhelmed. I'm crushed in my spirit. I cannot take no more. I want to tell you, God is saying you are exactly where you needed to be. Because there are some things that can only be revealed in their crushing. I gave this example last night. This girl was saying, I moved to this city. I got this job that I had prayed for. And then everything started happening. And I got out of that toxic environment. And I was so happy. And then now I feel this heaviness again and all of this. And all I could hear was, you know what? You got out of the toxic environment, but the toxic environment ain't got out of you yet. Right? So you got the new home, but you're still operating in the same depression in a way. Right? Or also, too, the way the Lord gave it to me as well last night is like, when life gets really hard and something bumps you, think of if you have a cup and someone bumps you, stuff spills out, right? When you have a full cup. That's why God takes us through seasons of testing and trials, because he starts to bump us, and the stuff that pours out of our cup reveals what's been in our heart the whole time. It's just we hadn't went through a tough season yet, right? So for example, when I get bumped, sometimes I notice emotional eating could come out. There was a season when I used to get bumped and cussing would come out. When I would get bumped, I would run away from God. That was all the stuff that was already in my heart. It's just something had to come in my life to show me that, hey, so I'm looking at this wilderness season as this testing season, like, gosh, this cannot be God. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing in my life that's causing all this chaos? And God says, actually, daughter, you're not doing nothing wrong. You're actually in a good place, because as your cup keeps getting bumped, you're going to continue to see what I've been seeing all along, that there's still some stuff in your heart that I really want to work on, but it requires some wilderness seasons. It requires some valleys. It requires things not going your way. You see, sometimes we're like, a lot of women last night was talking about patience. Like, man, I've been waiting so long. I've been waiting on this, waiting on this, and waiting on this. And I kept thinking, like, gosh, Lord, I keep hearing this. What do you have to say to their long suffering? Because patience is hard, y'all. And I agree, Lord of mercy. I fully agree. And the Lord kind of just really reiterated and said, long suffering is a spirit of the fruit. It's a fruit of the spirit. So pretty much with that being said, this is something that you got to take on. That, you know what, if you're able to long suffer, if you're able to be patient now with your singleness, you're able to be patient in your marriage when things aren't going the way you want. And when you were ready to have that child and it didn't happen just yet, you have that same patience now, right? Or if you're able to be patient in your university and your studies and patient on that journey with me, you're going to be able to be patient when I call you to step into your purpose. And year one comes around and it don't happen. And year two comes around and it still ain't really growing like you thought it was. And then when year three comes around, you say, hey, you know what? I've been through this before. I know about patience. I know about long suffering. And then bam, you get it. And you go on forward, and guess what? Year 4, year 5 comes around, and you doing the very thing God showed you were going to do now. But it requires long suffering. So anyways, there was a lot of little words last night and a lot of stuff that was dropped last night. And I kept saying, okay, like people were pulling on my gifts in a way, and I could feel it. I'm like, okay, Lord, what is that for her? What are you saying here? And I saw some daughters in the background kind of getting their boards together. And I want to show you something. I seen some daughters in the background of their videos while we were working on. They were getting their boards together. They were putting stuff on their boards. And every time somebody would ask me a question, God would make me generalize the question. And I usually don't do that. I'm usually very specific to someone's need. But people would say, "Oh, well, how do you trust God when you have been believing God for so long?" And da da da. And God would quickly take me to take the question not so generalized about her situation or about her specific need, and to take it for everyone online, pretty much. And I realized that the Lord gave me a word in December 3rd, actually, and I thought it was for me. And I took it, and I was great, and I struggled with it, but I took the word. And quickly, when I felt like, okay, this is a word for his daughters, but I sat with it. I sat with it up until yesterday. December 28th is when I told them that word. And I will say there's something about when you are at the end of your rope and God finally sends you a raft. And I felt like that so deeply last night. There were some daughters, and I said that, and that was the Lord saying this prophetically because it wasn't in my notes. But he was saying there are some daughters that we just happy you here right now. We just happy you made it on the call. We just happy you still holding on in faith. Like God is like, you over here wondering how you got to be doing XX, all this stuff perfect. God is like, I'm just happy you made it this far, daughter. You over here putting all this additional pressure. Oh, I got to get this every day. I got to study like this. I got to do all this. And God is like, daughter, I'm just happy you made it this far because there's been some hard things for you. And so I'm sharing all this because the way the Lord had me speaking last night in a way was directly to the struggles, but was also directly to the girls and the women that have been at the end of their rope. That have been at the end of their rope. And I don't know about you guys, but I know how that feels to literally say, Lord, I can't take no more. And then not too long after, you got to take more. And then you're like, dang, I guess I could take more. I didn't want to take more, but obviously I could. And so I just want to share this with you today. If you are somebody who has had a hard year, and if you looked at your list that you had of goals and plans of last year, and then this year you're looking at it and you're like, nothing happened, Lord. Like there's some stuff on there that's still there. There's some stuff on there that looked like it went backwards instead of going forward. There's some things that I was believing for that it looks like it's even further away now. If that is you and you've had such a year where you felt like you've struggled and you've battled, if that is you, girl, I want to tell you this right now. This is not a time to let go of the rope. This is not a time to say, okay, well, this is how far it's come. Nothing ain't working. I've been trying this idea. It's just boring. No one ain't signing up. This is Let me throw it in. Let me throw in the towel. This is not that time. This is not that time. I'm trying to tell you, anything in God will be tested. Anything in God will be tested. And I am sorry. I wish I could take the testing away. I wish I could snap my fingers and give you the blessings that you've been praying for and the help that you need and everything. I wish I could do that for you, but I can't. But I know someone who can. And so what I want to encourage you is don't throw in the towel. Don't let go of the rope. Don't lose your faith because of the testing. Because I have to remind you this. Every season changes. That's a law. That is nature. That is God in general. Every season has to change. So even if you are right now in the good season where everything is Gucci and you ain't even really you ain't stressed about nothing, accounts are perfect, everything is feeling good. If you're in that season, go ahead and put a little money back. Go ahead and prepare yourself mentally because one day that season will change as well. Every season, God will send a test. God will send a struggle. God will send a challenge to show you what's inside of your cup. Because if now the money is low and now you can't even get up and work your purpose no more. The money is low and now you're depressed all the time. You can't even get up and go do what he's called you to do. They're showing you that the money is what's controlling what's inside your cup. Okay? So I want to tell you this. I have learned obviously a lot throughout these last 6-7 years of ministry. And I have learned the most this year. The year where nothing went as planned. I shared that last night in the vision board party. Everything that I had put on my board, some of the stuff came, but nothing came as planned this year. The plans I had, how, oh, God gave us this new office on January 1st of the new year. I was moving into this place. I was getting things ready to move into this place. And I had all these plans for the year and all that God was going to do in this year and everything I had planned. But you know what I didn't have that was a part of my plan? I didn't have death a part of my plan. I didn't have grief. I didn't have downsizing a part of my plan. I did not have being in an office pretty much all year by myself a part of my plan. I didn't have putting my studies on hold as a part of my plan. I didn't have those. So you know what happened to me is I started to get resentful. When the year started not to look like the plan, I started to get resentful. But you know what God said? Daughter, the year didn't go as planned. Okay, get up. We still got more to do. You know what? There are going to be some seasons of your life that does not go as planned, daughter. But see, what happened is he let the hard season come to bump my cup to show me there was resentment in my heart. I didn't know resentment was in my heart until I went through the hard season. And then I started to be able to see the resentment towards my mother. Then I started to see the resentment towards my father. And I started to see the resentment towards that ex. And I started to realize there was all this resentment sitting in my heart. But I would have never realized it until I went through a season where my ministry, where my cup got bumped. And then I'm sitting here and I'm resentful towards the Lord. And he's like, you're not just resentful towards me now. You think this is just one moment. You've been resentful. You've been resentful. And see, I tried to show it to you in different ways, but I had to put you in a season of testing so your cup could get bumped. And now you can finally see what's coming out of it. Okay. So I want to share that to you right now. If you are going through this season and you've been going through a struggle, what has showed up every time you got bumped? Have you wanted to go drink? Have you wanted to go smoke? Have you wanted to go have sex? Come on, y'all. Back in the day when my cup used to get bumped, I used to want to go drink. And literally, there was this year, I haven't drank in years, y'all. But this year, I literally smelled alcohol. Like, just, I smelt it. And I'm like, now, okay, I haven't drunk in almost like 7, 8+ years, but I could smell it because my cup was getting bumped and the old things wanted to come back, old desires. So, daughter of God, I want you right now to say, okay, if I've been through a hard year, Lord, whatever was sloshed out of my cup, let me deal with that. If I went through the hard year and I couldn't get off the couch and I went through depression, let me deal. Why am I depressed? What is the root to my depression? What is it about my life that I feel is out of control that I can't control when I know he is the author of this and he does control this through me? So I know I'm in control. But what makes me feel out of control? Let me deal with this root. Okay. So I'm saying all of this because I learned some things, even though I said this was the hardest year of my life. It caused a lot of death, not only around me, but internally. But this was also one of the best years of my life because I lived more. I did more things. I challenged myself more because my cup kept getting so bumped. I had to deal with stuff that I wouldn't really would have dealt with because life would have been Gucci. Because accounts got really low this year, I had to get more creative and innovative for my ministry. And also, in a way, it took me back to the beginning stages of my ministry when it was like, let's just have fun. Like, let's just do what God is putting on us. Like, let's not worry about all this overhead and let's not worry about all this. Let's just continue to move forward the way the Lord has always showed us how to. So, see, there was a lot of great things that came out of this year. So, I want you to look at what came out of your cup, but also I want you to look at what was the good things you gained this year? And you know what I realized this year? My word for 2023 was next level. So I was thinking, oh, God's going to take us to a next level. I got this new office. This is next level. All these next level things. But you know what he took me to? He took me down. So I'm in this year, I was looking like, God, this don't feel like I went next level. This look like I went backwards. But also, God's ways are not our ways. So my next level was, oh, we're going to have next level money. We're going to have next level opportunities. We're going to have next level this. And God is back here like, no, we about to get to a next level of healing. We about to get to a next level of faith. We about to get to a next level of ministry. You know what? I've done a lot of ministry this year, but I've done a lot of personal ministry this year. I've done a lot of ministry for individuals this year that I haven't got to do. I've done a lot of house visits this year that I have not done ever. So I went to a next level in ways that I wasn't expecting. And I want to tell you this. I said this last night because I said that though this was prophetic, this was for somebody because I experienced this. Somebody's word for 2024 is going to be live, like living, because they haven't been living in a long time.
And 2023 was the year I started to live. I've been so focused on my ministry, so focused on next goals and feeling behind in life and getting all this stuff together. And 2023 is when I started to take weekends off. I started saying, hey, you don't work on Saturdays no more. You don't work on Sundays. Take the weekend off. 2023 is when I started to go for rides, just go down roads and ride and just ride and spend time with my dog more. Like 2023, I will say I lived. I went to a concert with my sister. I took a trip I booked me an Airbnb one weekend and I went for like 3 days and just chilled out by myself, right? I put my dog in doggy daycare more this year so I could go and have a little time and spend some time with the Lord and do the things I wanted. So 2023, although I was looking at it as I'm going to be traveling more and I'm going to be doing all this stuff more, the Lord said, you're going to be healing more. We're going to take you to a next level of healing. And you know what I said in this video not too long ago on therapy? I did 1 year of therapy this year, and it helped me heal so much. It helped me deal with so much. And so my next level to me looked like I was going to experience next level things in my life, like the next level car, the next level home. Like I was thinking on that level. That's how I was thinking. But you know what? I'm so grateful that God didn't give me those things, because he could have gave me the big home, but I would still been hurt and depressed in that big home. He could have gave me the new car that I was believing for. But you know what? The car I currently have is still working just great, and it's getting me exactly where I need to be every time. I have no issues with it, and it's really great on gas. So I just want to share that with you, that when we were doing our vision board party, something I kept reiterating is that we are not putting our faith in these boards. No, no, no. These are things that we have believed that the Lord has talked to us about. These are things that this is things that I believe, even like going back and getting my master's in divinity and theology, getting 5,000 ladies inside of my membership. These are actual girls we've helped in the past give more prom dresses to girls. These are things I know God has told me to do. So I'm not telling you to put your faith in a board. No, not at all. All I'm saying is when God tells you something, if you put it before you, if it's a sticky note, if it's on your computer screen, if it's on the back of your phone, if you put that word before you, you will see that word come to pass. And when seasons get hard, you know what's going to happen? That word is going to come back into you. When season gets hard and when you're struggling, you're going to hold on to that word you remembered in that previous season. You know, I remember one day I was on a trip, and the Lord spoke to me and he said, there's going to come a day where you're going to say, wow, this is my life. You're going to experience a lot more of those moments. Like you're going to be like, wow, this is like the Lord told me that. And so this year, when nothing felt like, wow, this is my life, when all hell was breaking loose, pretty much, God reminded me of that word. You know, there was a season when I was in my apartment and God told me that the keys were already in my hand to whatever the future office I was going to have. And so I put it on a sticky note and I put it on the back of my door. So every time I walked out of my door, it said, the keys are already in your hand. And you know what? I held on to that word. And when I went and looked at my first office place, I remember I had that in my spirit. The keys, if this is the one for me, the keys will already be in my hand. And you know what? That man gave me the key that day. I didn't even put no money down yet. We talked numbers and stuff. That man gave me the key that day. That day. He just pulled it off the thing. All right, we'll talk next week. We'll send over numbers. He gave me the key that day. That was our first office space. And our second office space, first day that I met up with the person and everything and did numbers, that day, it was our first day. For this one. So I want to tell you this. I want to tell you, when God gives you a word, we are not putting our faith in no board. We're not putting our faith in no pictures. I'm just a visual person, so I like to see all the stuff that I'm believing for. But see, this is 2021. There are still some things on here that have not come to pass, right? And that's what I was sharing with the ladies last night. We don't tell God the moment and the hour on how he's supposed to bless us, but we let him know, hey, we're open and we're believing that you are going to do it. Okay. And there's something I want to show you right here. This has been on my board since about 2021 or 2019. HDC headquarters. Do you see these pictures? Do y'all see those pictures? Does that not kind of look like where I'm at right now? The chairs, the vibes, the way it looks in here. We don't put our faith in no board, y'all. We put our faith in the promises of God. Okay? So when God shows me something, I'm just crazy enough to believe him. I don't know when he gonna bring it to pass. And I think I put these pictures in here in 2019. I want to say either, or it might be this says 2021, so it might have been 2020 or 2019 when I put these pictures of this office. The Lord showed me that we were going to have an office, and I put them on here. Now, when I went to this, and this is what happens though, we lose faith, because when I went to my first office space, it didn't look like this. It didn't look like these pictures, right? The first one I went to, and I felt like the man gave me. I felt like, oh, but this is what the Lord has for us right now. But even when I was in that office space, I knew it didn't look like what I saw. But it's okay, because this is just the middle part. And so then a year into that office space, the Lord says, we're going to move back home. I got something better for you. And then this looks like what I saw. So I want to share this with you. We're not putting our faith in boards and all that. No, we're putting our faith in the word of the Lord. And so I just wanted to jump on here because I know there were quite a bit of people who probably missed last night based off of time, based off of life. But the Vision Board Party was so powerful and it's so impactful. And what I will say, what I gain the most is because I get to see your faces, I get to interact, I get to answer questions, but also I get to hear the patterns of the questions. And what I heard a lot last night was people not realizing they've walked into faith. Like, man, I heard a question. And what I say is, the Lord was so good last night, because when I say they walked into faith, is like, girl, this is faith. They're like, well, why is my relationship not like it used to be? And, I'm trying to always get back to where I used to be in my walk with God. I used to be on fire like this, and I used to get revelations like this. And I was like, but baby girl, you got to realize at 2 years old, your parent has to hold your hand. And they have to keep telling you, this is what you are. This is who you are. This is what I want you to do. They got to give you every step at 2 years old, and they got to walk you through that. But when you get 21 and 17 years old, your parents ain't speaking those same words to you. They're not holding your hand the same way. You know what they're doing? They're letting you go forward. They're saying, oh, hold on. She knows the curfew. She knows when to come home. She knows what time. That's what God is doing with you. So sometimes we're still wanting our 2-year-old faith with the Lord. Like, hold my hand, God. Show me. Hold on, God. I'm not going to move on the idea yet because I'm just so scared. And it's like, daughter, you acting like a 2-year-old when now you're an adult. I trust you enough. You don't have a curfew. Go out there and do what I told you to do. Right? So last night when I kept hearing some girls, it was like, I want to go back to my old walk. It's not like it was when I was in college. It's not like it was when that one season. And I'm like, hey, girl, life starts to change and things happen. And what happens is God speaks words to you year after year. And you know what? So when you were 2 years old, he did have to keep speaking these same promises. Hey, you're going to be this. You're going to do this. You're the apple of my eye. I love you. You're strong. You're beautiful. Don't worry about what they said. Don't worry about what your mama said. Don't worry about what they're saying about that idea you're trying to do. Don't worry about it. See, that's what a daddy has to do to a young one. But when you start to grit to your faith, you can go for a season and you're like, okay, all right, the Lord just tell me, okay, we're going to do it. I don't need his hand like that at that same level. I don't need all that confirmation. I don't need 20 times before I move, because now I've grown up in the Lord a little bit. I've gone to bigger things now. So I can say, okay, the Lord is telling me to speak on this word. Okay, Lord, I pray we start to develop this word. So I'm going to take some time tomorrow. I'm going to take some time on Saturday. I'm going to take some time next Tuesday to really sit down and develop this word. When years ago, Morgan would have said, hold on, Lord, is that you? You got to confirm it again and again and again and again. And then eventually I would lose the idea and I never would have moved on it, because I was still at that baby stage in my faith. And so I want to remind somebody today, if you are somebody always saying, man, at that season, I loved God. At that season, he used to show up in my dorm room or in my alone time. At that season, I was on fire. At that season, but you also have to realize, girl, relationships change. Things shift. You'd be like, man, why don't God speak to me like he did that one time? He's like, because I don't have to come in so loud no more. I can just whisper it now. Right? I remember in college one time, this girl was talking to me about something, and the Lord just showed me in both letters a scripture about a leader. And I said, hey, let's go look at the scripture. And we looked it up, and it was all about a leader and what a leader is. And I remember feeling like, and sometimes even today, I'm like, Lord, why don't you show me like that no more? Like, I really be trying to answer some stuff sometimes, and I need your scripture, and it don't be like it was at that one time. And it's like, because it just flows out of you now. Back then, you didn't know enough, and it wasn't going to just flow like that. So I had to take you to it. But now it just flows. So don't covet the last season. Don't covet that season when you was on fire for God. It's just now that it looks a little different. It don't mean you're not on fire. It's just the fire looks a little different now, right? So with the previous season in college, I would be by myself in my devotion with the Lord and just have all that time to glean. And I loved that season. And I would get the chills, and I would see a move of God within myself, or I would begin to cry and speak in tongues often, actually, in my dorm room. And then now I'm like, well, God, I don't speak in tongues that much alone with you. It's only once in a while. And he's like, because because if you speak it, then someone needs to be interpreting it. And sometimes you do interpret it, but sometimes you don't. It's different now. And sometimes I don't even need you to speak in tongues because you're getting the download in your language. So it looks different sometimes, you know? And so I want to just share that with you. It doesn't mean, and so if you're somebody, because I'm trying to tell you, I'm just taking questions from last night and I'm throwing them in here because I know some of you missed it. So I'm trying to just throw it all on you. And maybe it's a lot, but I seen that last night with a lot of God's daughters where it was like a light bulb for them because they've been coveting different seasons of when they were like this with God, when they were like this with God. And I'm like, of course, baby, you were like that. You were an infant. You needed to be held like that. You needed to get the scriptures bold, or you needed to get the chills like that. You needed to get the overwhelm like that. You had to, because you were a baby and he needed to show you who he was. But now that you've been with him for a while, girl, you know who he is. So even if there is no chills, so even if there is no overwhelming move of God in the church house, you know the Lord, you know his spirit, you know him. So even if no one is going to, they might go around prophesying to everybody else and they don't prophesy to you. It don't matter because you already know what you're supposed to be doing anyways. And they was only going to tell you what you already know. Okay? So I just want to say when you find yourself not holding on to God's hand so tight, like you personally, then that's something you need to work on. You go, no, I got to come back and I got to hold on to his hand and I got to make sure that I'm close to the heart of the Father. But when you find yourself saying, this don't look or feel like it used to look and feel, welcome to faith. Relationships evolve and the fire does change at times. It does. But it's not all about feelings. It's about knowing. And see, in the beginning, you didn't know him enough, so you had to feel him to know him. You had to feel him to know him. But when you got, like think about this, like a 2-year-old, to know that their parent is there, they probably going to feel and grab to their, a 17-year-old in their room, they just going to know that their parent is in the front room, the mama in the room. They just know. The 2-year-old needs to cry and see you. Like, where is my mom and daddy? But the 17-year-old, they just know. Mom and dad are in there. This is kind of how our daily schedule goes. This is how it is. And I want to share that with you. So if you feel like you always got to feel God, always looking for God, all in the detail, like where is God? Where is God? Where is God? Just hold his hand a little longer. Let yourself continue to feel him to where you know him, to then when he says, okay, daughter, go off and do this thing. And you're like, hold on, what school though? What university? He's like, I just told you to go. You're like, but what detail? I need all the steps, God. I need all the detail. And he's like, you've been with me long enough. You know me. You know everything I've taught you is inside of you. So I trust and believe that what I put in there is good and it's gonna reap a harvest. So go ahead and go. Do the idea, create the thing, do it. But you're like, no, God, I don't want to take a step without your hand. I don't want to take a step. And he's like, but you're not. But you've been with me long enough to know how to walk forward and how to do what's right and how to morally make decisions. And you know my scripture and you know what I say about you and you know the promises. And you know when you find yourself in a hard season, what to hold on to. And you know that when things don't go the way you think they should go, you have a faith now to understand that what words to say and what to pray and what to sing and how to uplift your spirit now. You know how to hold on. You've been with me a while now. So you know. So yeah, y'all, I just jumped on here because there was a lot of questions last night that I would have never thought would have been some questions, you know. But I'm glad that they were because the Holy Spirit got to directly answer a lot of people's questions and turn a light bulb on in a way for a lot, including myself. I ain't gonna lie. Don't think some of this stuff I knew either. I'd be like, oh, okay, Holy Spirit, even while I'm talking sometimes, like, okay. I just wanted to share that with you guys today. And I want to tell you that during our live, I showed the ladies some templates for their vision board. So it's like if you want some like words, and we had the word like abundance, we had the word elevation, the word higher, the word live, we had the word flourish, whatever their word was for 2024. We just try to give them some templates of things to believe. We even created a pink check that said the bank of God in a particular scripture saying, you know, if you have a need, just like God provides for his church, he provides for you. You are the church. And so I put that in the template as well. And so I will say, if you are somebody and you want to get those templates and you really want to just evolve within, you know, whatever God has for you, like I keep saying though, our faith is not in the boards. Our faith is in Jesus Christ and the promises and the words he spoke to us about. So if a girl put on here a particular lash business, let's say she was like, I want to do a lash business, and she put lashes on there, and that's something that the Lord has been talking to her about. Her faith is not in the board or even the lashes. Her faith is in the Lord bringing to pass what he said he was going to do. And so I just wanted to share all that with you guys. But if you are somebody who wanted those templates and stuff, it is a free download. However, so we can make sure that everyone downloads it and we don't have issues, because we have issues sometimes. We put it inside our membership portal. And so since it's going to be in there, and I don't want you to have to pay for these things, we're giving you a 7-day free trial. So for those 7 days, you can get access to all that stuff, but also you can download those templates. And if you don't want it, you can cancel anytime. It shows you how to on the inside. Email us, we'll cancel it for you. But we just wanted to give that to you, especially if you are somebody in your vision, like you want to create your own vision board, you want to create your own prayer board, and you're like, you know what, I really want to do this, but I just don't know where to get started, or I'm too afraid to really just tell the Lord where I'm headed, or where I don't even know where I'm headed. Then I want you to encourage you to check that link out. We have some stuff in there that can really, really help you. And one thing I will say is I have never done a free trial for my membership. Okay. And this was a little hard for me. I'm not going to lie. Because I felt like I give a lot of free stuff in the ministry already, you know? So I'm like, I don't want to give like my big 30-something master classes, videos on nonprofits and being a speaker and all that. Like, I don't want to give that for free. But then you know what I realized? If we give it for a limited time, if there has been a daughter all year long who's been like, I want to join, but I don't have it. I don't have the money, all this stuff, but I really want to learn a little bit to where I can get started with my stuff. I'm like, we can give her 7 days. Okay. The Lord did a lot in 7 days. So we can give her 7 days to figure out what she need to figure out, get what she need to get, and then she can get on out if she needs to, right? We can give her 7 days. The Lord did a lot in 7 days. And so I thought, why not go into, I don't want you to go in this year out with all the weight of what you went through, not going into the new year with new tools on your belt. Okay. Um, And so, yeah, so thank you guys so much. And I just wanted to share that link with you. If you want the vision board templates and all that we have inside, you can click that link, free for 7 days. They will ask you for a card, but they ain't charging you nothing at all until after day 7. And so if you don't want to stay after day 7, you can cancel by day 7 and you're good to go. And so I just wanted to give that to you. I do believe that the Lord can do a lot in 7 days. I've actually seen him do it often, actually. And so I'm like, you know what? If there is a daughter out there that has an idea, a merchandise business idea, how to be a speaker, how to write her first book, how to launch an ebook, how to launch her nonprofit. If she has any of those questions, how to start her first women's event, whatever, she can at least get some tools to start her year off really strong, right? And so sometimes it's not about the ideas we have. Sometimes we just don't have enough tools on our belt to get moving. And so if you're somebody who is always sitting on your idea, the issue is sometimes not that you don't have an idea. Your idea could be great. It's just the tools on your belt. You need to get new tools to know how to work things and how to plan and how to have a strategy and how to set up your schedule and how to set up your tasks that they actually bring you results to. And so, anyways, I went around the mountain today. I didn't expect to give you guys that word, but I knew I wanted to jump on here because there was a lot of people that did not make it to the vision board party, but I don't want you to miss out on the beautiful words that the Lord is giving, as well as I don't want you to miss out on the free things that we're giving as well. And so, one thing I will say this: if you've ever wanted to join, just join. Take the leap. I actually have that on the webpage. Take the leap. Take the leap. It's 7 days free, but take the leap and see if there is something in there for you. We have a resource library, we have community, as well as January. In January this year, we're starting, it's called a power hour inside of our community, where 1 hour out of the month, it's going to be one Saturday a month, just for 1 hour. It's accountability hour. We come together, everyone online, and for that 1 hour, you focus on whatever that thing is. If it's your purpose, if it's your idea, if it's building your little online business, if it's growing your social media, if it's, whatever. It might even be planning out your outfits or something, planning out content. For that 1 hour, we're going to meet up on Zoom, and it's going to be our 1 hour accountability. Um, and so, is there a deadline for the trial? Yeah, I think if you click that link, it should tell you how many days you have left. So even if you buy the trial, even on the last day, you still get a 7 day trial. It's just that is going to end. That was supposed to technically end last night, and it did end. And then today I was like, I still want to offer that to everyone else who did not get to make it. And so that's what I did. I sent it out in the email probably like an hour ago and let them know about it. And then I let you guys know. And so, yeah, we're doing the power hour starting January. I have the date, and if you join our community, as soon as you get improved into the Facebook group, you will see the dates and everything. But on the top header, it's on the top of every one of our Facebook groups, and you'll see the date for the power hour and all of that. And so, yeah, that's something that we wanted to bring because a lot of us need accountability. And so, if you are a girl where you're like, I really want 2024 to end different than 2023 ended, right? And I want to say this, don't be afraid to go for it. Guys, I'm the queen of fearlessness, right? I talk about this like it ain't nobody's business, but this is what I want to tell you. Don't be afraid to really go for it, okay? And what I mean by go for it, I mean like this year, before this year is up, sit down and say, where do I want at 2020, when 2024 ends, where do I want to be? Where do I truly want to be? And that might scare you because then you got to say, this is where I want to be, Lord. But then it's like, where do I feel like I could be? Where do I want to be? And wherever you cap yourself at, realize that might be your cap and not the cap of the Lord's. Sometimes that might be your disbelief. You might be like, well, you know what? I just want to be able to pay my rent. Well, girl, if that's all you want to be able to do, then that's all you're going to do. But if you're like, I just want to get by, then you're going to struggle, but you're going to get by. Or you say, you know what? I want to have my car payment on auto pay. I want to have it on auto pay. And I want to have my rent on auto pay to where money's already in that account and it's on auto pay. I'm not stressing when the month comes. I'm not overwhelmed. So you know what I'm trying to tell you? I want you to start thinking going into 2024. When 24 ends, where do you want to be? Do you still want to be in the same place you're at? Do you still want to be in the same home? Still want to be in the same vehicle? Still want to be at the same job? Do you want to still have the same routine? Um, how do you want your finances to be? Like you want to start thinking about that, because that right there can be very, very helpful. Okay. That will be so helpful. So, anyways, you guys, I did not. This was not originally planned. If you were on the vision board party last night, you went to that page, you realized that it was only like 2 hours left on that timer. And when that timer went off, it ended. The sale ended. Okay. But then I was like, you know what? Today I was like, let's give them. God can do a lot in 7 days. Let's continue the 7 day free trial for 7 days. I think I said 7 days. Maybe I said 5 days. I don't remember. I got to look at that. But either way, this is a limited offer. I think it's going to end either tomorrow or Monday. And so I might have did 3 days. I can't remember. But there's a timer on there to show you when it ends. I don't know what that says. Okay, maybe I did 5 days because it says 4 days and 11 hours. Okay, yeah, okay. So that's when it will. So it's a 7 day free trial. You guys, if you're interested, please click that link. Take the leap. It's free, FREE. I've never done this before. And I really am kind of trying to see if this is something at special occasions, maybe once a year, that I would occasionally do for you guys. So I would love to see how people react to it and just see how people do with it. Um, and I'm so happy to have you guys. And if you are somebody who's previously been in it and you had to take a break or something, utilize the 7 days, utilize it. But I just want to encourage you so much. Before you go into 2024, sit down and think about, where do you want to go? Where do you want to end up? And if you can't pick a target yet, remember that if a ship leaves a dock with no target, it will end up anywhere. And so sometimes our years, we end up anywhere at the end of the year because we had no target. Okay. And so I want you to have that target. And it tells us in scripture that we plan our ways, but the Lord directs our steps. Okay. So we will plan it. So I say, okay, Lord, I'm trying to end up here because I believe this is where you call me to be. But He will direct how you're going to get there. Okay. So that's where faith comes in. And so I want to encourage you guys, if you're interested, check out my mentorship. I am 7 day free trial. The link is right here in the chat. This is a limited time offer. It won't be for too much longer. And I just really hope you guys would join, take that leap, challenge yourself to get into some community, challenge yourself to join us for the power hour of accountability, and just challenge yourself to really show up for who you've been called to be. And I love you guys, and I will see you in 2024. I'll see you guys in 2024. When is that? Monday? Yeah, 2024 is. I'll see you. Yeah, I'll see you on Monday. I got a video dropping on Monday, and I think I got a video dropping on Wednesday and Friday. So yeah, I will see you guys in 2024. Happy New Year. I love you guys, and I cannot wait to see all that God does through you in 2024. So, girl, get your faith up, take the caps off, get closer to the Lord, and go after everything God has put before you. Be fearless. I love you guys. Check out that link. I'll see you later.